Welcome to the program, everyone. Joining us from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, we'll be talking with John Kim, co-founder of LoRa Technologies. John left a successful career in investment banking to launch LoRa, which is an exciting and innovative fintech startup with offices in Seoul, Jakarta, and Hong Kong. John, welcome to GlobalScience.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, John. Can you tell us about LoRa Technologies?
Sure. LoRa Technologies is a platform where we wanted to contribute to the democratization of finance because at LoRa Technologies, we believe that all investors have the right to relevant, accurate, and reliable information, regardless of your social wealth or your social status. So after 2 decades in the finance industry, our co-founders recognized that average investors are underserved and overcharged in all areas of investments. So we were thinking, how can we use AI to solve these problems? We established a data-driven AI fintech company, and to address all these issues, we created a freemium stock trading platform called AskLora.AI.
Now, John, what do you think is fintech's core technology, and what is your view on the future of the financial industry?
The fintech's core technology, I think, is always about digitizing the existing solutions and providing accessibility. And the future of finance industry, if you think about the finance industry, it's about data collection and analyzing this data. And there is no other tool better than artificial intelligence. So by strategic applying artificial intelligence to certain processes, such as insight gathering and task automation, we could see unimaginable rates of growth and unimaginable rates of scaling. Similar to how Industrial Revolution, we had machines literally do the heavy lifting for us. In my own words, I like to say AI will automate the mundane thinking for us. So that will leave us more time to be more productive in other areas.
Now, globally, the fintech industry has gained the spotlight and is receiving policy support from various regulators. From your perspective, how has Korea's fintech industry developed, and what are the challenges?
That's a great personal question for me, because I recently came back from Korea. I attended this KSGC 2020 program that's sponsored by the Ministry of SME and Startup and NIPA. And there I was able to meet a lot of smart and talented young individuals. However, I was slightly disappointed because there's not enough support programs to encourage these young individuals. It's geared more towards large corporations, and the barrier to entry are still there. And these large companies are usually not the first mover to adopt new technologies. I see much more effort being put in place by government organizations to remove these barriers for young individuals. And if they continue to do so, I see the Korea fintech industry developing at a much quicker rate.
You now live in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. What is the corona situation like there? How has the Malaysian government managed the spread of the virus?
First of all, I would like to say, unlike other parts of Europe and America, I think Asia is slightly geared towards heavier restrictions and heavier control, which is working. It is working in Malaysia. Recently, there was a third wave of infection in Malaysia. I believe there's over 1,000 people getting infected each day. The government has placed a RMCO, restricted movement control order, literally restricting lots of different businesses and locking down the general population from moving around. So the social distancing measures work, where the economy is opening back up and people are starting to lead a normal life. But this RMCO is in effect till the 31st of December. It's encouraging, frustrating, but it's something we have to bear with. I guess this is a new social norm now.
How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected Malaysia's economy?
I think, like most of the world, it has the economy slowing down. And I would say particularly the major economic impact is not white-collar workers like ourselves, but usually the vulnerable household. Malaysia does have one of the highest income inequality compared to other East Asian countries. The poor income family has been affected to a great deal, so the Malaysian government has been dealing with this issue. They've been trying to cater more regulations and better policies to address this particular issue, helping the poorest 40% of the population rather than helping the top 60%.
Now, John, what changes are you expecting for the global economy and financial markets in the upcoming Joe Biden's era?
I think in the upcoming Joe Biden era, there won't be dramatic changes in the beginning. I think the changes will be much more gradual. However, if you look at the global economy, or if you look at Dow Jones as an indicator, it hit a record high of 30,000 recently. The global economy is on the right path. So is the US economy. I think there are more social and political issues that has to be addressed before the global economy could fully recover. Those are more social policies rather than economic policies.
Now, finally, John, can you recommend any stocks to our viewers today?
Sure. I guess most finance professionals will recommend tech or pharmaceutical companies because those are the exciting stocks now. But I want to show you something different, something that's AI data driven, something that Laura has recommended. And this recommendation came out on Monday. It's been doing very well. Hanguk Tires, 161390.ks. So we asked our AI engine to pick a stock in the Korean market. And it's an AI automated analysis incorporating both technical and fundamental analysis. And it identified Hanguk Tire as a good stock price momentum. So if you look at Hanguk Tires, it's basically they're manufacturing original equipment, and they've been expanding rapidly with GM, Audi, and Fiat. This suggests continued demand for Hanguk Tires. But more importantly, on the profits are replacement equipment, where Hanguk Tire has been gaining much more market shares, and overall the sales has been increasing, even during the COVID era. So I think this is a good stock, especially if the FX for the US dollar Korean won remains within the 1,100 band area, and if the Euro Korean won remains within the 1,320 area, then I think this would be a great investment to look at.
John Kim, dynamic co-founder of LoRa Technologies, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on the show, Bruce.
Thank you. Based on LoRa Technologies' AI data-driven analysis, John's top stock recommendation is Hanguk Tires, as it's been gaining market share and profits in the replacement equipment sector, as well as increasing overall sales even during the COVID-19 pandemic. This does it for this week's Global Signs. Thank you for being with us, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Until then, please be safe and healthy.